Good morning, XRP Army. If you are watching the replay of this live stream, go ahead and skip ahead to the 3-minute mark or 4-minute mark. That's where this will actually get started. Other than that, I am testing audio, waiting for people to come into the stream, getting things warmed up, and then I will kick off. So I don't want to waste your time. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and skip ahead to the 4-minute mark. Otherwise, you can hang out and catch some behind the scenes stuff. But as of now, I am waiting for everyone to come in. We are going to be covering ETFs. We're going to be covering the yen reverse carry trade, as well as the update that they came out with the MAS and some other things tied into the Japanese economy. So there is a lot of news and information. We got announcement of more money coming into XRP ETFs through Vanguard. I'm going to cover that as well. So make sure you guys stick around. We have a lot of information to cover. But in the meantime, I'm still waiting for people to come in, so you can go ahead and skip ahead to that 4-minute mark while I wait for people to join the stream. Quelly is already in. Looks like Quelly79 just joined in. He or she, not sure of the name, was first. But again, if you guys are new to the stream, go ahead and skip ahead to the 3 or 4-minute mark if you're watching the replay. Otherwise, I'm letting people come in. Quelly, thank you for joining. Hopefully the audio is good for you. It looks like it's testing well on my side. Everything seems to be up and running very, very well. I'm going to grab a drink before I get started. All right. So let's see here. We got Quelly in. Not sure how many people are in. This new streaming software I've been using does not show me how many people are in the stream, unfortunately. But so far, so good. Again, if you guys are coming in the stream, I'm giving it a few minutes, letting for everyone to get in here, but I do have a lot to cover. I'm going to cover updates on ETFs, cover update on the yen carry trade, as well as some massive news that came out of Asia and also out of the US with potential more money coming from Van Eck, and I'm going to cover that. That's huge assets under management. That's a lot of potential money that could be coming to XRP and other crypto. Welcome, Mahadir. Hopefully I said it right. Let's see here. And the market has just opened. It is 8:30. We'll see what XRP does here in 1 second, but I'm going to give it one more minute, letting people come in. Welcome, Eric. Welcome. Are we getting rich? Not yet. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, if we're stacking XRP, we're getting rich every day. The more we stack, it's just a matter of time. And hopefully you guys understand that about me by now. It's not a matter of if, I view it as a matter of when. That's why I track everything for you guys every day. Once you start, can you please explain why, according to Jake Claver, XRP must be at a high price to start being used for institutional utility? Okay. All right, Quelly, absolutely. I will certainly explain that as we go forward, as I talk about the reverse carry trade and the yen. And again, I'm about to get started here. But again, the chat is highly, highly important. So any and all questions, use the chat. I haven't started really kicked off the stream yet for another minute here. But for those of you who are in here, the more you engage with the chat and the more you like the stream, it tells the YouTube algorithm that you guys like what you're seeing, and it pushes out to more people. So if you want to see the stream grow and get more people in here and more questions, that is the best way to do it, is to engage in the chat. That being said, we still got about another 20 seconds. I'm going to let people get in here before I get kicked off. FYI, there's 12 people on YouTube. Thank you very much, Quelly. We're up to 12 in the stream. I'm going to start in about 15 seconds, so we'll hop into everything and I'll do my normal spiel and we'll get underway. So again, I appreciate all of you taking time out of your morning to be here. And without further ado, we're hitting the 4-minute mark, so I will get started. All right, so let's see here. Good morning, XRP Army. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, kick back, relax. I'm not going to ask you to do anything, but if it's your second time, make sure you're subscribed, you hit the like button, and you engage in the chat. The chat is the lifeblood of the stream. The way I do this is I am going to hop into the price action. I'll pull up the chart. We'll see where XRP is today. We use the chart for context to explain the ETFs and the news. So we have a full painting picture of what is happening with the market and what is happening with XRP, so we can better determine exactly what's happening. Again, I lay out the facts, figures, knowledge for you guys to come up with your own ideas. I do give you my opinion and my take, but again, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Without further ado, let's hop in to the chart. So that being said, we're going to see what XRP is doing right now. We are up to 206 since the morning has started. Nice little run up from yesterday. We had our pullback down to the 198 line. So we did fall below $2, but we reclaimed it. We're currently sitting above EMA 9 right now, which is a positive trend. So we'll see how that continues. I actually just got a notification on my phone that we've increased by 5% in the last 12 hours. So again, we are moving up, but what does this have to do with anything? Why do we care about this little price action? A lot of news came out yesterday. Screen, you don't want that one. You want that one. A lot of news came out yesterday about XRP, and I'm going to get into it all, but first I want to cover the ETFs because it ties into the question that was asked by Quelly, and it also ties into what this means going forward. So, as always, we're going to cover the ETFs. So let's see what we're working with ETFs. I will refresh. All right, so in the last 24 hours, of course, not much showing there. You can see we had the pullback in ETF inflows. You might not see it because I moved my picture over here to the right. But we had a pullback in ETF inflows going into the holiday. We still looks like it crossed over 100 million in total inflows and volume day before yesterday. And then yesterday, it still hasn't updated what we did yesterday for December 1st. Looking down here, again, you can see we did cross 40 million in volume yesterday during that crash. So even amidst the crash of Bitcoin yesterday tied to the yen carry trade, we still did 40 million of inflows on XRP. Again, regardless of what's happening in the market, these institutions keep buying. I mean, we've talked about this. There is going to be a constant pull of supply off of XRP. There is still no official date on 21 shares. I just researched it probably for an hour and a half yesterday. I could not find any official date on 21 shares. The only thing I could find was a tweet from them yesterday that says, "Good morning, zoom out." It says GM zoom out from 21 shares. I don't know why they're being so cryptic, pun intended. I don't know why they're being so cryptic about the release of this ETF. But we are still waiting for 21 shares and no official date of exactly when it's going to be going out. That being said, let's hop into the inflows. So we are going to do real quickly. I'm going to run through it and see. We didn't have a ton of business, so to speak, yesterday with the ETFs because of the crash. But that being said, let's see here. Let's see here. 53 million. So they went from 38 to 53 million in Franklin Templeton's ETF. That was a massive jump. Grayscale assets under management, total XRP was at 38 million. Let's see if we refresh it, what they come up to. They're still at 38 million. So theirs did not adjust. Franklin Templeton had a massive jump of 13 million. See what Canary Capital is doing here. They're up to 161, so they were at 158, so they gained 4 million. Rex Osprey we saw drop because of the coin shares thing yesterday. Or not yesterday, but okay, so I don't know what that was about. They must have see XRP. They adjusted, so it's not through coin shares. They got more XRP somewhere else. Now they're up to 29 million. This was not here yesterday. So they actually, when coin shares removed it, we talked about this. Let's pull back out real quick, because we talked about this and I mentioned that coin shares was pulling their XRP ETF, and I mentioned that Rex Osprey was holding their XRP with coin shares. So that being said, when coin shares pulled their ETFs and they announced that they were going live on the NASDAQ and they announced their merger, they got rid of all their crypto. They wanted to get rid of volatile assets off of their balance sheet to improve their valuation. So that was the whole purpose of them pulling all their crypto ETFs. And you can see it in the Rex Osprey that this originally, we saw yesterday that this wasn't here anymore. This was 32 million, right? And it was held through coin shares, but now they've got 29 million somewhere else. So they're shuffling some XRP around there. So Rex Osprey added back 29 million. And then if we go to Bitwise, let's see what Bitwise is doing. Total XRP interest is up to 83 million. So they gained another 2 million, and still no update on 21 shares. No update of the XRP ETF. I have searched and searched and searched. As soon as I find something concrete and real, I will let you know. But right now, all we have is a teaser from 21 shares that they sent out yesterday. And all it said was GM zoom out. So if you guys can figure out what that means, you let me know. But moving along into cryptic tweets and cryptic news, there was a tweet that went out yesterday that was not so cryptic, and it was very, very big. So I'm going to pull it up to you right now. So there was a tweet that went out yesterday. It was in Japanese. It was transferred. But one of the major, think of, if you guys follow the NFL, think of, you know, what's their freaking name? Ian Rappaport, or, you know, any of those guys from the NFL, right? The ones that are in the know, that are always the first to launch information. Well, essentially the Japanese version of that in finance sent out a tweet claiming that they spoke to higher ups in Ripple, and they have claimed that Japan turns to the XRP ledger as the backbone of its tokenized economy. Okay, so that being said, this has not been officially confirmed by Japan or by Ripple, but the source is very trusted in Japan. So market analyst Diana highlights a major milestone in Japan digital transformation. Top sources confirm Ripple is building a zero-knowledge identity system on the XRP ledger. Therefore, this signals Japan may anchor national digital ID infrastructure on the XRPL, reshaping finance, compliance, and the country's emerging tokenized economy. Zero-knowledge identity systems let users prove their identity without exposing sensitive data, boosting privacy, security, and compliance by integrating this directly on the XRPL. Ripple transforms its network from a payment platform into a robust digital infrastructure capable of powering government-grade identity solutions. Japan is racing towards a tokenized economy, with government agencies and major banks testing blockchain based on asset issuance. Remember, SBI, the second largest bank in Japan, is a Ripple partner. Keep in mind. Central to this vision is secure digital identity infrastructure. The Ripple's involvement signals strong confidence in XRPL's speed, efficiency, and compliance-ready framework. If developed nationally, Japan's ZK identity system could become the backbone of tokenized economy, unifying identity verification, KYC, AML, compliance, and asset transfers on single ledger, streamlining operations, boosting transparency, and enabling seamless interoperability across banks, government platforms, and private enterprises. This is exactly what XRP was designed to do. This is why they started working on ZKPs. This is why they started including privacy. This is why they partnered with, or this is why they chose BNY Mellon for their stablecoin with the most strict guidelines on privacy, right? They did this to become the blue chip place to go for digital financial infrastructure. And we're seeing it play out in Japan. But again, you guys know me. I like to take the information and connect the dots. What else do we have recently? So I brought this up yesterday, but now it makes a heck of a lot more sense. Over 40,000 weird XRP transactions appear out of nowhere. If you watched yesterday, we talked about this. These prints suddenly jumped into 20 to 40,000 range and stayed there, which is the kind of pattern you see when someone is preparing a large batch of wallets, running configuration steps, and testing permissions before plugging in real liquidity. Amid the recent incident, many brought up how the last major operator known bulk account actions, that reads really terribly. So basically, last time BitGo had an error and produced some similar issues, but they were not as large and as coordinated and as to scale as what happened with these 40,000 account sets. So you can see here the drastic increase in account sets that happened at the very, very end of November, a couple days before these announcements. And I say these announcements, I've told you one. We have another one that's massive, and I do mean massive, and it's not being reported enough. So I'm going to talk about it. Ripple wins MAS approval to expand crypto payment services in Singapore. I know this doesn't sound big, but pay attention. Ripple, the company behind XRP and RLUSD cryptocurrencies, secured approval from the Monetary Authority of Singapore to broaden its digital asset payment offerings, it said on Monday. The MAS approved an expanded scope payment activities for the major payment institution license held by Ripple Markets APAC, the Singapore subsidiary of Ripple. This expanded license strengthens our ability to continue investing in Singapore and to build the infrastructure financial institutions need to move money efficiently, quickly, and safely, Ripple President Monica Long said in a statement. Ripple established its Asia Pacific headquarters in Singapore in 2017. Its payments offering combines digital asset settlement with a global payout network to deliver faster cross-border payments and on-off ramps for banks, crypto firms, and fintech. They are plugged now directly into the entire Asia corridor. That's what this means. They have full payments licensing for the entire Asia corridor. We just had the tweet that Japan is building their tokenized economy. Excuse me if I could talk. We just had a tweet that Japan is choosing XRPL to build their tokenized economy on it the same day that this happens, and the day before there's 40,000 weird account sets getting set up on the XRPL. I understand that I'm not trying to force coordination, guys, but when things happen like that in stacks, it's really, really hard to ignore, right? I mean, or is that just me? Let me know. Hopefully you guys are getting some value from this and asking in the chat. I honestly haven't even been paying attention to it because these dots are leading to real world utility and real world utilization and adoption, and it's happening at scale in front of us. And the only thing people want to say is, why hasn't the price moved? It's going to happen when it gets turned on, and we're going to talk about that. I had a question on it earlier on why the price needs to be higher. But before we do that, how are we going to get the price higher? Everyone wants to talk about supply shock and ETFs, and the constant supply of XRP is being diminished. A lot of people were freaking out about the $1 billion XRP or the billion XRP escrow yesterday. We see nothing really happen with that. That happens every month. I don't know why people freak out about it. But so the ETFs are going to constantly be removing XRP from supply. We're talking about potential supply shock. That's how everyone thinks the price is going to start to appreciate. But we got even more money coming into XRP ETFs. We have a major announcement from Vanguard. Vanguard caves on crypto to retain clients as rivals win flows. Opens a $9.3 trillion platform to crypto ETFs. So what does this mean? On December 2nd, Vanguard will reportedly open its massive brokerage platform to spot Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Solana exchange-traded funds. Vanrock is not launching their own ETFs, but they are allowing their clients to purchase them now. They weren't before. So now there is another 9.3 trillion worth of assets under management that could potentially flow into XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana. This is major inflows opening up to XRP. If we can get BlackRock to start investing, that's even more money. So we have ETFs still removing XRP from supply even during a crash. I think I've mentioned that 3 times. Price drops 10% and they're still pulling 10 to 15 million XRP per day off of the supply. We have more money coming in. We have adoption happening in Japan. We have Singapore giving the green light in Asia. So what's next? Africa? South America? The US? Europe? I mean, I do think this is the beginning of adoption, and it's starting in Singapore, where Ripple has their biggest headquarters. So that's all the news. I'm going to hop into the chat. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. And if you could, someone let me know how many people are in the chat. I'm going to start running through everything right now. So, Quelly, once you start, can you please explain why, according to Jake Claver, XRP must be at a high price to start being used for institutional utility? The reason that, so let's start with this. It is clear, and it has been stated by David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, that XRP's design is to function is better. Well, XRP's design is better functioning at 10,000 per coin versus $1 per coin per token. So the reason for that is if you're talking about moving trillions of dollars in cross-border payments, right? If you're moving $10 trillion at once and you have 100 billion XRP, the price has to be higher in order to move that 10 trillion. That's saying you have full use of all 100 billion XRP. But if you only have access to maybe 2 million XRP in a specific corridor, because they have to be held in specific corridors, but if you only have access to 2 million XRP in a specific corridor and you need to move a couple $1 trillion, you either have to do multiple transactions, which opens up problems, or XRP has to be significantly higher. So in order for them to utilize XRP for the utility that it is designed to run at, It needs to have a higher price. Otherwise, they need to do many more transactions at a lower price. This increases the burn rate of XRP. So the whole system is designed to balance itself. So if it's operating with $2 XRP and it's moving trillions and trillions of dollars, it's going to burn XRP faster because they have to do multiple transactions. This will increase the price. Then Ripple has escrow that they can release to balance the price. The entire system is designed for balance and liquidity to prevent volatility. And the volatility right now we're seeing is because it's still a speculative asset, and the price of XRP is not backed by its utility and is not backed by its use case. So Jake Claver believes once the price rises high enough for them to unlock the utility to use it at scale to do those massive transfers, then they will start using it. That's what he believes. But the design of XRP is designed to balance itself between releases from escrow as well as the burn rate. So it can function. It can function at $2. It's just not going to function very well or the way it's supposed to. And mind you, for them to use XRP for its utility, that means it has to be bought and sold. Before that happens, we have to have clarity, because these banks are not going to want to pay capital gains tax every time they use a bridge asset. So again, we need clarity first before XRP is really going to take off. And hopefully we get that very soon. And hopefully that answers your question for you, Quelly. Eric93 says, haha, just waiting and all these good decisions taken. Still no rocket. Clarity Act, Genius Act, banks, all the ETFs, but no jump. I really don't think we're going to see a jump, Eric, until the utility finally turns on. We need clarity because they can't use it until we have clarity. It's impossible to use a bridge asset, and I've been saying this since the get-go. It's impossible to use a bridge asset that you have to buy and sell if you have to pay capital gains taxes on it every single time. It just doesn't make financial sense. So until we have some kind of clarity that identifies XRP as a bridge asset, it's not going to be used that way. My opinion, not financial advice, especially at scale. It just doesn't make sense. George says, heyo, I can't wait to hear the news. Hopefully he got all the news there. William says, good morning. Welcome, William. You're always here. Is it Desired or Desiree DeBellis? Good morning, Desiree or Desired. Not sure which one. Three brothers. Good morning. Good morning. Desiree says, here we go. It's been a long time coming. Cheers. Yabez says, good afternoon from the Netherlands. Thank you, Yabez. Welcome. Or Jabez. I don't know why I keep saying Yabez. George, good evening from the Philippines. We got everyone. Let's see. We got Netherlands. We got Philippines. Let's see. Changely said hello. Quelly, excellent explanation. She got it now, or he or she got it now. Thank you. George, we are in the fourth industrial revolution. Adoption don't happen overnight. Patience is key. Yes, George, that is correct. Adoption does not happen overnight. And that's why I show up and track all these things, because if we're paying attention, you can see things getting built out behind the scenes. You know, 40,000 account sets, that's not random. That's something being built. And of course, you know, whenever I point out these informations, of course, the first thing is, yeah, but it's not doing anything for the price. That's not why I'm here. You guys know that. Hopefully it pronounced pronounced Desiree. Desiree. Thank you, Desiree. Hopefully you guys get it. We're here for the long view. We're not here for what's going to happen today. We're not here for what's going to happen tomorrow. We're here for what's going to happen next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when our grandkids are saying, remember, grandpa or grandma bought XRP at $2. It's kind of like saying, I bought Amazon when it was $4 right now. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. Hopefully you guys feel the same. But that is all the information. I do want to pull up real quickly. I'm going to look at the yen, the dollar strength, since we were talking about that yesterday. And I'm also going to pull up Bitcoin and see what Bitcoin's doing today. Let me adjust my mic so I can type here. Let me see what's going on with yen to USD. Sorry, bear with me here. I am not the best typer. I learned how to type playing World of Warcraft in my actually EverQuest in my teen years when I was 13, 14. I was a nerd. Let's see here. So looking at this, I'll pull it up here for you guys to look at. This is the last month of the dollar to the yen. If we look at the last 5 days, So it did run back up and fall over the last 5 days as far as the yen to US dollar. So as yen gets stronger, our economy gets weaker. As yen gets weaker, our dollar, as our, how is it? I had this yesterday. My brain's not working, silly stroke brain. As the dollar decreases in strength to the yen, our market collapses. So as you can see, yesterday we had a decrease and we had a large decrease in the stock market. This is the direct correlation we found. You can see it has been steadily going down all day yesterday, and that was when we had our sell-off. If we look at it on the last month, you can see a steep decline right here. This was our sell-off on beginning of November, and then it ran up and then it spiked back down. So it's, yeah, the yen to US dollar, something very, very important to watch. You can get a pretty good idea of what's going to happen in our stock market based on this one little indicator, especially when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto. My opinion, not financial advice. Let's get back into the chat and see what we have here. What date is the Clarity Act supposed to take place? We don't know. The last update we had was from the CEO of Coinbase that was talking with people from the Senate. They were hopefully expecting to have it done before Thanksgiving. Obviously, that didn't happen. It's already passed through the House. The Senate's working on their own version. Once they're done, it'll go back to the House for revision and for them to approve any changes and then sign off by the president. So hopefully we get it sometime in Q1. It still could be done by the end of the year, but there is no date on when it's going to be done. But they are actively working on it. They want it done fast. They have mentioned that. So they want to get Clarity done. It's just a matter of when. It's sitting in the Senate right now. That's where we're at with Clarity. Let's see here. DM Dowd says, hello, welcome, welcome. CMGH1508, good morning from San Antonio. Good morning. I love San Antonio. I went to basic training down there. I love that city. The Riverwalk was awesome. Jabez, I wonder how revaluation of currency fits in. I'm not sure I don't know when there will be any revaluation of currency. There could be the other potential way if the U.S. does not. So there is another potential way. I researched this. If the U.S. does not give clarity, if another country deems XRP as a currency, then it can be used for what it's wanting to be used. But another country would have to deem it as its official currency. You can Google that if you like. I did some research on that at one point. But in order for it to be utilized as a bridge asset without U.S. clarity, another country would have to deem it as its official currency in order for it to be used in FX accounts and stuff like that. So there are options. If the U.S. drags its feet, Japan could come out and say that it is their alternative bridge currency and sign it into law, and they would be able to use it that way. So it's not just the U.S., but the world economy follows the U.S. economy, and it is a U.S. company. So it would be really, really bad for another country to adopt it before the U.S. Ripple's been at the White House. Ripple's been hanging out with the president at, meeting with the U.K. Ripple's everywhere. Brad's everywhere. They're mixed in with J.D. Vance and Trump and the White House. To me, it's a matter of if not when. And I know that's speculative right there, but no one else is this involved as Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse and all of them are with the government at all. Can you name another cryptocurrency that has representation hanging out at the White House all the time other than Tether and R3? Maybe Coinbase. But that's really it. Let's hop back to the chat here. William asks, this is exciting. This is exciting times we're in now. I know that we got in at 40 cents, $1, $2. If you've been around since the beginning, this is what we've been waiting for over a decade. So if you've been hanging out for a long time and you're part of the tortured masses that have been hanging out with XRP, this is definitely exciting times for you. This is what you've been waiting for. CMGH, how accurate are the supply numbers of XRP? Is there real facts or just speculation? Well, I'll give you the real facts. I'll give you the real facts, CMGH. There are 100 billion XRP in total supply. Roughly, Ripple holds about 36 billion of those in their escrow. They release 1 billion every month that can be bought on the open market, or people, their business partners, can pre-purchase them for up to a 20% discount. This is common. This is how Ripple has handled their escrow since the beginning. Nothing has changed. However, let me take a look here. Let me get back to the question so I answer it correctly. Is there a real fact? You're talking about the number of actual supply. So what is actually in circulating supply is approximately 60 to 65 million. There is no way of telling who holds what exactly without going through every single wallet. And I think I might actually have it here. You guys are welcome to follow me on X at Longview Crypto. I do retweet and post on there as I find information, and I'm looking right now to see if I saved it. Let's see here. That's not, I didn't save it. There was a tweet that went out that showed the decline of XRP from available from exchanges, and it showed a total of about 6.5 billion left on exchanges. Again, I can't confirm that. It's really difficult to confirm what's available on specific exchanges and wallets. But that being said, if you do a Google AI search, you can piece together 6 billion is about the general consensus you get if you look at probably 5 or 6 different avenues. There's no exact number. But we can guess about 5 or 6 billion is available on exchanges, and we can go through and look at all the ETF filings and see how much XRP they're physically holding. And that's why I do that every day, because it is real numbers we can see that is being held and locked up from supply. And then when you talk about the fact that they're also working on staking options for XRP, we mentioned that a couple of days ago about native staking, and smart contracts are coming to XRPL. They're working on that. They are expanding the XRPL. They are becoming a one-stop shop for everything crypto and everything crypto finance. It is very exciting times. We haven't talked about tokenization in a very long time. So the fact I was able to bring up Japan tokenizing their economy on the XRPL is extremely exciting. I mean, there's just adoption left and right. It's a matter of time. Let's see here. Hopefully I answered your question about the supply number. CMGH should be roughly 6 billion available on exchanges, and then the rest of the available supply is held in wallets like you and me, other institutions, things like that. Do you hold any other ISO 20022 coins? I hold XRP. I do hold Bitcoin. I've been cycling out of it though. Be honest with you. I hold XRP. I hold Bitcoin. I do hold Chainlink, I hold HBAR, and I hold Ondo and Avalanche. I just added Ondo. So I hold those 6. I don't have any XDC. I've been looking into it, but the main majority of my bag, and again, none of this is financial advice. It's just what I'm doing in my own personal life. The majority of my bag is heavily weighted towards XRP because I do believe that has the highest chance of return on investment, in my opinion. That being said, I do believe there's going to be a select handful of tokens that rise to the top, just like we had in the .com bubble. I've mentioned that numerous times as well. So I'm not putting all of my eggs in one basket, but I do believe XRP has the most adoption and most utility, and that's why I'm most excited about it, and that's why I'm on here talking to you guys. And I do eventually intend to expand my scope to cover more crypto. But I knew the most about XRP. I've done the most research about XRP. I check it every day. I'm most excited about it. So that's what I started with. But I will be widening my net to other cryptos as we progress in the future, because I don't believe it's just going to be one winner. I really don't believe that. But I do believe XRP is going to be one of them, my opinion. Let's see here. Changely says, when the whales sell, does it resupply the exchange? It depends on who they're selling to. A lot of times whales will sell directly to OTCs, and sometimes they'll just dump right on retail. It depends on who the whale is. If the whale is a large institution, a lot of times they do it behind the scenes. If a whale is, a regular person who just accumulated a lot of times they'll dump it on exchanges. So yes, when whales sell, it does go back into available supply. However, it depends on who gobbles it up and where it goes. And remember, the last time we had a massive selling pressure was during the crash that brought us all the way down to $1.75 a couple weeks ago. There was a $3.1 billion purchase at the $1.75 level. So there is massive whales waiting to buy when it drops. And I said before, I think our new floor is $1.75 because I don't think the ETF authorized participants are going to let it get below that. Me personally, not financial advice. I'm holding XRP and passing it to my daughter. She's only 3 months, so who knows what it'll be when she's 30. Yeah, I mean 30 years from now. Well, I mean if you want to, just to give you, perspective, William. I mean imagine if you invested in Google or Amazon or Tesla 25 years ago. If we are right, if we get this right and XRP is one of the winners, I mean that's an exciting prospect. Just saying, not financial advice. Desiree, awesome. William says, my children are what inspire me as well. My daughter is definitely what inspires me. That honestly, I truthfully believe I would not be here without my daughter. When I had the strokes, I was ready to give up. I lost everything. And I remember laying in the hospital bed. And I was crying, and I was just so grateful, incredibly grateful to be alive so I could see my daughter grow up. It completely changed my perspective on my entire life. It really did. Because I didn't know if I was going to walk again. I didn't know if I was going to be able to see again. Remember, I was laying in the hospital bed. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move my left side. I couldn't see. My entire left field of vision was gone. I couldn't read an email or a text. And I didn't know what my life was going to be like at that time. And I just remember, even with all of that, just being so grateful that I was going to be able to see my daughter grow up still. It's crazy what perspective will do for you, right? Let's see here. My children will inspire me as well. William says, I mean, it just makes sense. Obviously, pass other assets to your kid, but to be like on the wedding day, here's 100 XRP. Yeah, I know, right? That would be... That's the goal. And I think a lot of us are looking at all of the, I think majority of us are here for the long view. Most people who are looking at the long-term investment strategy aren't looking at it for themselves. To have that kind of delayed gratification and patience, you're not doing it for you. Because you would want to enjoy yourself over those 10, 15, 20, 30 years that you're accumulating that wealth. The people who build wealth slow are doing it for their families and typically are doing it for the right reason. People who try to get rich quick are typically doing it for themselves. Again, I'm not trying to judge anyone, but it's just a correlation that I've seen, me personally. If anyone could tell me how many people we have in the stream is dying down now. We might be done here. I've gone through all the news. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick recap of everything we've discussed. And if I don't have any more chats going on or any more interest going on in the stream, I'll go ahead and close it up. But let me go ahead and hop into a recap. So quickly. Ooh, while we were talking, oh my. While we were talking, XRP had a nice little run up to 210. That's always a pleasant surprise. Let's see if it's matched with Bitcoin. I always check and see what Bitcoin's doing when XRP runs up or crashes to see. Yeah, Bitcoin's running up too, following Bitcoin. So crypto in general is improving. But that being said, pull up the ETFs. We covered ETF inflows. They reduced yesterday during the crash. But again, going into the holiday, they were very, very strong. And even during the negative day yesterday, we still had roughly 15 million XRP removed from supply. We went through and updated all the XRP held in funds. Franklin Templeton at 53 million. Grayscale at 38 million. Canary Capital sitting at 161 million. Rex Osprey re-added almost 30 million after they pulled 30 million, right? They switched from CoinShares to, looks like they're custodying it themselves now. And then Bitwise increased theirs up to 83 million. This is XRP held in trust that is not on the open market. That being said, 21 shares, still no update on the 21 shares ETF. The only thing we had yesterday was a tweet from 21 shares that says, GM, zoom out. Take it what you will. We still don't have an update on 21 shares. And then we covered what was going on in the news. Van Eck opening up ETFs to their customers. This is a $9.3 trillion platform that now has exposure to crypto ETFs from Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and XRP. That is massive news. Van Eck is not doing their own ETFs, but they're allowing their customers to buy ETFs. If you Google the 21 shares ETF, you can see over here, XRP's price takes a savage beating on 21 shares ETF stall. We know that didn't happen. 21 shares XRP ETF launches December 1st amid fresh wave of institutions. Like, no one knows when this thing's actually coming out, but as soon as I have an answer, I will let you know. We covered the US dollar to yen. It has strengthened, and therefore our stock market has strengthened. That being said, this is the other one I was looking at. But that being said, if this takes not a nosedive, you can take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's following this thing to the letter. This is my indicator proof of the reverse carry trade. Bitcoin does what the yen to dollar does. You can see it on the charts. My opinion, not financial advice. I also covered the MAS, which is right here. MAS is the major payment institution license held by Ripple Markets APAC PTE, the Singapore subsidiary of Ripple. MAS approved an expanded scope. MAS is the monetary authority of Singapore. This is one of the largest and strictest corridors in the entire world when it comes to financial institutions. So this is Asia. Basically, Ripple has access for full payment activity across Asia, is what this says. This is massive. And that came out the day after this, which is the account set spike that we talked about yesterday. The account set spike of 20 to 40,000 new accounts set up. This is being built behind the scenes, guys. There are things happening in real time. All of this happens in the same day. Give me a break. So that is the entire recap. I'm going to hop back into the chat and see what we have here. I might have missed your question, Yabez. I'm sorry. I thought I covered them all. Good morning, good afternoon, Netherlands. I saw you say Netherlands, Jabez. When? When what, Jabez? I'm not sure what you're asking. I saw you ask when, but I don't know when what. Let's see here. Khalil asked Gemini about escrow release, and it said escrow had its monthly release, and Ripple sent $700 million back to escrow. $300 million with ETFs buying is not much. What's your take? So to me, this is good news, honestly. There's not a whole billion left out on supply. That's just me. Whatever's not bought is relocked in escrow. So really, and I honestly think I saw a note here that with clarity, they might they have said that once they get clarity, they're probably going to repurpose the escrow on how they're going to use it. As far as how much is being released and how much is not. So once they get clarity, I think they're going to tinker to get things where they want them to be for utility. Again, my opinion, not financial advice, but it's something to look out to, and it's something they have discussed. They have discussed changing escrow once they get clarity. Y'all have a great day. I got to roll. William says bye. See y'all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Yes, I will be here 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, as always, but I'm still continuing with the chat here. You are going great things for your country. If you were in the military, you know what I mean. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. I'm trying to spread the word, trying to help as many people as I can. And yes, I was in the military. I was in the Air Force for 6 years, from 2005 2011, before I got injured, and I was medically discharged with honorable conditions. Let's see here. So far, investing in XRP, I've been able to get my Lambo. It's on the 136 scale model, but nevertheless, I got Lambo. So you did a model Lambo. No, I don't blame you. Here in the future, I have a couple things lined up that I'm working on that I want to do. There's going to be a lot more channel activity happening next month that I'm really, really excited about. Again, I appreciate every single one of you who come in the stream. Why is XRP still low? XRP is still low because they have not turned on utility yet, Colin, but we did talk about that. They got a major green light from Singapore. They now have full payment authority from the Monetary Authority of Singapore. So they are now fully locked into Asia. The question is, who's next? Is it Europe? Is it South America? Is it the US? Is it Africa? They have partnerships and they got their fingers stuck in every single one of those continents. It is a matter of time. So when will XRP go up is always the question that's asked. I always say when utility turns on, when they start using it. Again, the escrow thing, I wouldn't worry too much about escrow. This has been going on since the inception of XRP. People still freak out about it. People still don't fully understand it. It is there to control volatility. That is the sole purpose of it. David says, just wait until we're having XRP run the back end of the stock market. They're working on it. I actually did a note on that yesterday that the chief of the NASDAQ is saying they are working on tokenizing the stock market as fast as possible. It's coming. I mean, the wave is coming. People are ignoring it, but it is everything is green except for the price, guys. Everything is green except for the price. That's how I look at it. Me personally, you know, I've said not financial advice about 30 times in this video. I think I'm safe. But as always, guys, I'm going to call it. The chat is dying down. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll be back tomorrow at 8:30. As always, I'll be doing shorts throughout the day, updating you guys of any new information that comes out. As always, I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next stream tomorrow. Later. Actually, let's see here. Yabez is asking, are those XRP that are being burnt verifiable? Yes, you can actually go on XRP Scan and view the XRP ledger, and you can see the burn rate of tokens on XRP Scan. Is it XRP Scan or XP Scan? Let me pull it up. It's a great tool. I think it's XP Scan, maybe. XP Scan? It's XRP Scan. But yeah, I would pull up XRP Scan. I'm doing it for you before I get off here real quick. This is XRP Scan. You can view everything from XRP. Tokens, AMMs, metrics. See, you can see all this. You can find burn rates, number of payments. You can view everything that takes place on the XRP ledger. xrpscan.com/metrics. I encourage all of you to have this bookmarked if you're following XRP. This will give you exactly what is happening on chain. But with that piece of information, I'll leave you. Later.